In a world where graphics have reached near photorealism, where ray tracing, 4K textures, and 120 FPS are the new normal, one question remains: why do some PlayStation 1 games from over 2 decades ago still look absolutely stunning? Today, we're diving into 10 PS1 games that haven't just aged well, they've become timeless. These aren't your average nostalgia picks. These are games that, even in 2025, make you pause and say, wait, this was on a PS1. Number 10, Metal Gear Solid. Let's kick things off with a classic Metal Gear Solid. Released in 1998, this was the game that proved cinematic storytelling was possible in 3D. The character models, blocky, the environments, low res, but the atmosphere, absolutely unmatched. The clever use of lighting, shadows, camera angles, and voice acting made this game FEEL, like a next-gen experience even back then. In 2025, fans are still remaking it in Unreal Engine, but honestly, the original still holds a certain gritty charm that no remake can replicate. Number 9, Final Fantasy IX. Sure, FFVII and 8 get all the mainstream attention, but Final Fantasy IX is the real visual masterpiece. It used pre-rendered backgrounds that look painterly, and they hold up incredibly well even today. Each area feels handcrafted, rich with details, and full of personality. Even though the characters are chibi style, the emotion they convey through animation is incredible for the time. In fact, FFAX's visual style was so timeless, many indie games today borrow from its exact aesthetic. Number 8, Ridge Racer Type 4. Racing games tend to age poorly, but not this one. Ridge Racer Type 4 knew the hardware's limits and used them perfectly. Clean, smooth visuals, striking use of colors, stylized lighting, and that iconic sunset glow. It still looks better than many mobile racers today. Pop it into an emulator with a bit of upscaling, and it seriously holds up in 2025. A total vibe. Number 7, Ridge Racer Type 4. This is where we enter style over realism. Ridge Racer Type 4 didn't go for realism, it went for vibe. The warm color grading, slick UI, and buttery, smooth 60 FPS gameplay made it feel like a music video you could drive through. Even today in 2025, people look at R4 and think, how did they pull this off on the PS1? It was that smooth. Number 6, Silent Hill. Most horror games age like milk, but Silent Hill, it aged like wine. The fog, which was originally used to mask hardware limitations, ended up becoming its signature style. In 2025, Silent Hill still looks terrifying. The grainy textures, the low poly models, the chilling sound design, they work together to create something deeply unsettling. This game doesn't just look good, it still feels dangerous. Number 5, Dino Crisis 2, Dinosaurs on PS1. Shouldn't be impressive, but Dino Crisis 2 nailed the vibe. Fast-paced action, detailed environments, and some surprisingly crisp character models made it pop. In 2025, this game still looks like an arcade shooter from the PS2 era, and when you realize it came out in 2000, that's insane. It's stylish, colorful, and still fun to look at. Number 4, Castlevania, Symphony of the Night. Pixel art never dies, and Symphony of the Night proves it. Released in 1997, this 2D masterpiece looks better than most indie games today. Every sprite is animated with care. The backgrounds are rich with gothic detail. In 2025, you could release this game with no changes, and people would think it's a new Metroidvania with a retro style. That's how ahead of its time it was. Number 3, Tekken 3. Fighting games on the PS1 usually aged badly, but Tekken 3, it still packs a punch. The animations are insanely smooth. The character models, while blocky, are stylized enough to avoid the awkwardness most old 3D fighters suffer from. And the stages, they still look clean. Boot this up on an emulator with smoothing or a CRT shader, and it's scary how modern it can look. Tekken 3 is timeless. Number 2, Parasite Eve. It's hard to explain how incredible Parasite Eve looked for its time. Cinematic cutscenes, pre-rendered cityscapes, stylish character designs. It looked like Resident Evil met Final Fantasy in New York City. Even in 2025, it feels modern. There's a cinematic flair in every scene. The moody lighting, the realistic scale, the pacing, it all screams, this game came out way too early. Parasite Eve doesn't just look good, it still looks better than some games released a decade later. Before we hit number 1, quick reminder, if you're enjoying this nostalgic deep dive, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss more retro gold like this. Now, the number 1 PS1 game that still looks amazing. Number 1, Chrono Cross. This game wasn't just beautiful, it was breathtaking. Released in 1999, Chrono Cross delivered visuals that looked straight out of a dream. From sunlit beaches and mystical forests to haunting ruins and surreal dimensions, This game painted each scene with rich colors and astonishing detail. The pre-rendered backgrounds weren't just technically impressive, they were works of art, and the character models, full of personality and smoothly animated. But what makes Chrono Cross still look amazing in 2025 is its timeless art direction. When upscaled or played on a modern display, it looks like a hand-painted masterpiece with the soul of a high-end indie RPG. Pair that with one of the best soundtracks in gaming history, and you've got a PS1 game that doesn't just hold up, it outshines modern titles in heart, style, and atmosphere. Chrono Cross isn't just our number one, it's a reminder that beauty isn't just about polygons. It's about vision. You know, when we talk about PS1 graphics, we're not just talking about pixels, we're talking about moments. About that time you first booted up your gray PlayStation, heard that iconic startup sound, and knew something magical was about to happen. These games weren't just games, they were portals. Back then, you didn't need 4K textures or ray tracing. You just needed a save card that worked, a controller with no drift, and a little imagination. You'd play for hours even when your TV was just a tiny 14-inch box sitting in your bedroom. And somehow, it felt bigger than life. What made these games so memorable wasn't just how they looked, it was how they made you feel. The fog in Silent Hill wasn't just a technical trick, it was a mood. The dreamlike colors in Chrono Cross didn't need HDR, they already lived rent-free in our memories. And when you played something like Metal Gear Solid or Vagrant Story, you felt like you were part of something way ahead of its time. And if you grew up in that era, you probably remember a bunch of games that just disappeared. Incredible games that didn't get the spotlight they deserved. That's why, if you're into forgotten gems and underrated masterpieces, check out my other video. 20 masterpiece games that flopped hard, but deserve a second chance. Trust me, if you're watching this, you'll love that one too. I talk about games that were way too good for their time, but just didn't get the love they deserved. It's like revisiting the best-kept secrets of the past. Because let's be honest, back then, we didn't have reviews on YouTube. We just went to the game store, saw a cool cover, and hoped for the best. Sometimes we found trash, but sometimes we found gold. And that gold is what this entire video is about. So yeah, 2025 is here. Graphics have evolved, tech has changed, but somehow, someway these PS1 classics still stand strong. Not because they're technically perfect, but because they were designed with heart, with soul, with ambition that stretched way beyond the limits of the console they were built for. And honestly, that's something we don't see enough of these days. And that wraps up our list of 10 PS1 games that still look amazing in 2025. But honestly, it's more than just graphics. These games are a reminder of a time when creativity mattered more than polygons. When developers had to work within limits and somehow created experiences that stuck with us for decades. They didn't need flashy engines or $100 million budgets. All they had was imagination, heart, and the challenge of making magic fit on a single CD. And that's exactly why these games still hold up today. Because great design never dies, great art doesn't age, and great memories, they only get stronger with time. If this video made you smile, or remember the first time you played one of these titles, then go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps more people rediscover these forgotten gems. And hey, if you're into this kind of content, you're going to love my other video. It's all about incredible games that got lost in the noise. Games that deserved better. Just like many PS1 classics, they slipped under the radar, but they still shine. You'll find the link at the end of this video or down in the description. So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and join me as we explore more amazing pieces of gaming history one classic at a time. Thanks for watching. And never forget, the PS1 may be old, but the memories, they're forever.